Hey, what's up? Welcome to Music, Tech and Lifestyle. My name is Sakem. The first video was the introduction to the Music, Tech and Lifestyle channel, and we just basically gave you a tour of the studio. This video is the second video, and what we're going to start doing is setting the foundation on music, and then we're going to build on top of that, yeah? So when we say the foundation, regardless of what it is that you're doing, whether you're building a house or anything you're going to do, you have to set the foundation. The foundation is, I guess, like what we've found out so far. So if you're going to do something for the first time, or you're looking into something for the first time, you may do some research, and in all the searching and the research that you do, what you find out, or what we found in music, because music as a language is vast, there's so much to it, and no one person can ever say they have all the answers. So when we say a foundation, we're saying what we've found in music so far. Now, you might get that foundation and then do some more research and build on top of that. And hence, we're always sharing and learning more and more about music. So what we're going to do today is just start to build a foundation. Now, the foundation stuff is important. Before you get onto the fun stuff, making beats, writing, recording, and this kind of thing, you need to, the fun stuff is great, but you need to learn the fundamentals before you get to the fun stuff. So we got to lay the foundation, learn the fundamentals of music, and then we build on that to do whatever else we do. Yeah, so music is actually very, very simple, like most things, but we are the ones that make it complicated. So the foundations of music are, for example, we're going to learn the scales, we're going to learn notes, we're going to learn basically the basic building blocks. So for example, most people know the alphabet, the alphabet that we learn in nursery, A, B, C, D to Z. Now, there are lots of letters in the alphabet, right? I think 26 or so. Now, in the musical alphabet, there are only 7 letters to learn. So it starts on A, like the normal alphabet, right? And it goes on to A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Only 7 letters. So if you can memorize and learn 26 in the normal alphabet, I'm sure you can learn 7, right? And what we're going to begin to do today is use the musical language, because no matter what instrument you're playing, this alphabet is universal and we can use it. And we're going to look at that on the keyboard. The keyboard is a great instrument to use to teach and to demonstrate things, because it's quite visual. If you have functioning fingers, it's quite straightforward to use. So before you move on to doing anything complicated, let's learn the notes. Okay, so we're going to start to learn the notes of the scale, and we're going to learn everything in the key of C, right? The first thing you will notice on the keyboard is that you have notes grouped in 2s in terms of the black notes, and 3s. So 2s and 3s. So if you look at wherever there are 2 black keys, the note immediately before the 2 black keys is referred to as the C. Okay? So out of the 7 notes we're going to learn, we've just learned 1, which is C. Right? And then we look at the 3 black notes, the group of 3 black notes, and the note immediately before the 3 black notes, which is this note, is also known as F. And you have the notes going down or up. So it's the same note whether it's down, C, 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 C. So all the C's on the keyboard are the ones immediately before the 2 black notes. and the F's are the same, which are immediately before the three black notes. So this is an F, this is an F, this is an F, this is an F, and this is an F. Okay, so out of the 7 notes we need to learn, we have just learned C and we have learned F, which means there are 5 notes left to learn from the musical alphabet. So if you know the alphabet, you know that normally the letter that comes before the C is B, right? So if this is C, the note immediately before it is going to be B. And equally, if you learn or know the alphabet and you know that the note after, or the letter after C is D, you know that the note next to C is going to be D. So knowing that information, you now know C, and you know before it is B, and you know that after it is D. So altogether, you now know C, you know F, and now you know B, and you know D. So you've just learned 4 notes out of the musical alphabet, which means we only have, 3 more notes to learn. Using that same technique, if we know that this is the F, which is the note immediately before the 3 black notes, then equally we know in the alphabet, the note or letter that comes before F is what? E. So the note just before the F is E, and we also know that the note or letter just before, just after the F is G. So we now know C, we know F, we know that the note before C is B, we know the note after C is D, we know that the note before F is E, and we know the note after F is G. So altogether, we have now learnt C, D, E, F, G, and what haven't we learned? Oh, we also learned B, because we know the note before C is B. So we've actually learned C, D, E, F, G. Now, in the musical alphabet, we only have 7 letters. So when we get to G, the only note to go back to is A, because from A to G, you have 7 letters. So let's do that. So if we started on A, we would go, because this note, we knew that this was B, so before B would have to be A, right? We knew this was C, we knew this was B because it's the note immediately before C, so the note before B has to be A. So if we started from A and did the alphabet, you see that we only have 7 letters, which are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And we only start again because you can't go H. There's no H, for example. It stops at G and then it goes back to A. So let's get a piano sound here, what that sounds like. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then we're back to A again. And then it continues. B, C, D, E, F, G, and back to A. Okay, because we're setting the foundation, the notes or the language of music is the same. So the notes on the bass guitar are going to be, as we learn on the keyboard, will be C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. So the notes are the same on the bass as they are on the keyboard. Because music is a universal language, as I said before, each instrument is able to play those notes of, as we covered on the keyboard, the musical instrument or the musical alphabet. The same notes apply like we just saw on the bass. So we have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And when you play the chords on the guitar, like this is the chord of C major, it would be the same on the keyboard, such as playing this. So musicians are able to communicate and speak the language of music by being able to all communicate using the same foundation or the fundamentals. Okay, we're talking about the foundation of music, and normally the drums and the bass guitar set the foundation of the music or the song, and the other instruments then accompany that foundation. So on the drums, even when you're using electronic devices like drum machines and drum boxes, you still need to understand the fundamentals of a drum kit. So for example, you have, every drum kit is different and may have lots and lots of pieces, but at the very minimum, you would need to have a hi-hat. A hi-hat can be open or it can be closed. You can hear the sound is different when I open it up and when I close it. And you do that with the foot pedal. So you need a hi-hat, you need a bass drum, which is my foot, which gives that kind of sound, the bass drum. And then you also need a snare. That's the snare. You have other pieces such as the cymbals, and you have tom-toms. And every kit will have many different pieces. But at the very basic level, the basic foundation, you need to have to be able to make a very simple drum beat, something like, I don't know, so you would need to have a hi-hat, a snare, and a bass drum to be able to keep timing. So for example, you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then add the drums to that. So you could add the bass drum on the 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and then you might add the snare. So you might go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's a very simple and basic drum beat. Okay, so as we saw on the drum kit, you can have different sounds on a drum machine or a beatbox, such as this. So in order to make beats, for example, you would need to understand the different sounds. So for example, on the drum kit we looked at, we were looking at the snare, the hi-hat and the bass drum. And here you've got more sounds that make up this particular drum kit. Now, knowing the knowledge of having the foundation of how you play using, say, just the bass drum, the hi-hat and the snare, you can make a beat. so on. Yeah? Okay, so today's video was covering the foundation of music. As we said, music is actually quite simple to learn. It depends on how you're taught and by who. There are lots of books and resources out there that you can purchase, or go on YouTube and find stuff to learn music. We looked at the foundation, basic things like learning the scale, the musical alphabet. We did that in the key of C, which is all the white notes on the keyboard. We covered that if you look on the keyboard, there is a pattern of 2 black notes, 3 black notes, 2 black notes, 3 black notes, and amongst all the white notes. But this pattern is very distinctive. We learned that the 2 black notes will give you an indication of how to find the note C. So the note immediately before the 2 black notes would be the C. And we also looked at the note just before the 3 black notes, and this note was F. So out of the 7 notes in the musical alphabet, learning to recognize those 2 notes means that you only have another 5 notes to learn. And a simple formula of thinking about the alphabet and knowing that the letter before C is B and the letter after C is D means that you know 3 notes just by finding the C. So you find the C, you learn that the note before it is a B and the note after it is a D. And at the same token, we do this on the F, so that the note before F would be E and the note after F would be G. So again, you learn another 3 notes, which are F, E, and G. So altogether, combining the C and the F, you've learnt 6 notes, which means that the only other note that we haven't learnt is the B, right? Sorry, the A. The A will be before the B. So you have A before the B, then you have C, and before the C you have B, and after the C you have D. Then you learn F, and before the F you have an E, and after the F you have a G. And after G you just go back to A, because there's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. 7 notes, and then it goes back to A. Okay, then we looked at the fact that on the other musical instruments, such as the bass guitar or the 6-string guitar, that those same notes can also be found on those instruments. And this is how musicians communicate using the musical alphabet. We're just building the foundation and we will grow, but we want to make this very simple and easy for everyone to learn and understand music. So yes, it may be boring at first, while we cover the fundamentals before we get into the fun stuff, like we were doing, making beats, etc. But we need to understand the basic foundation, and as I explained before, a foundation is what we've found out in music so far. There's still so much more to be discovered and found out, So I hope that basic foundation helps. We're going to build on top of this. Music is a language, as I said before, so therefore it has a vocabulary. Just like learning the alphabet, you start off learning the alphabet, and then once you've learned that, you start to build words with the alphabet, right? And then once you build words, you can then build what? Sentences. And after you build the sentences, you can maybe build a paragraph. And when you build after the paragraph, then you might build a chapter. And you keep going, and eventually you end up with a whole book. But it had to start with the language from learning the basic alphabet. And music is in exactly the same position, where learning the musical alphabet gives you the basic foundation, and then you start to build on that, and you would learn chords. And then from the chords, you start to use the chords to build what we call progressions, and the progressions are what form most songs. And then obviously you can add colors, and you basically start to use the vocabulary in the way that you want to communicate. Just like when we use the English language, we learn the alphabet, we learn words, we learn sentences, and we start to use it to compile, and write letters, chapters, or books, whatever we choose to, by utilizing, the basic blocks to get to where we're able to use it proficiently. It's the same way with the musical instruments or the musical language. Week's video. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and there'll be many more to come. We'll build the foundation, and then we'll grow. We will start to cover things in detail and give you more information regarding each equipment, each instrument, each process, so that you find it useful. I'm Sakem. See you next time. Peace.